YouTube, we should be pretty good, I believe. I think that's right. Righto, so what we're having a look at today is communication with kids, basic problems that sort of happen with that, and some of the simple ways that you can navigate around that. And I think a lot of these things aren't super well known because parents don't have a lot of time. You're dealing with kids hanging off you all the time, and it gets difficult, it gets draining, and it gets exhausting. So let's have a look. I've got a few things that I wrote down here, but one of the simplest, and I think it's the easiest things to do, it's super easy to practice, is when you're talking with kids, or when they're talking to you, or they're complaining, or they're whinging, or they're upset. Most of the time, they don't actually need a solution. What they need is for you to just simply create a space where they can express whatever they want to express and feel safe enough to do that without being judged. That's literally it. It's one of the easiest things in the world if you are not of the mindset that I just had to clean that camera. That's the YouTube stream. If you're not of the mindset that you need to try and fix and sort of control every problem, sometimes they literally just need to express what they're feeling and then it goes away. It's like, I like the analogy of looking at emotions and thinking about emotions as like waves or water crashing into something. And when they're at peak emotions and they're really worked up, they're like, like, this is happening, everything's going wrong, everything's going to die. They don't necessarily need you to fix it. They just need to express what they're feeling, let it out, have you be the rock that they can crash into. So it's like you've got this tidal wave here, rock here, this is you, you're the rock. And they go, and instead of you going, oh, I'm going to catch all this water, I need to keep it contained, you just stay strong. Let it go around you, and then the water calms down. And then it comes back, and you can have a nice, relaxed conversation after that. But just being able to create that space for them to feel comfortable enough to express things, very, very important. So just encouraging them to talk about whatever it is they're feeling. Then the second way to sort of improve that with whatever their communication is, whatever they're struggling with at that point in time, is literally take the words that they're saying and repeat it back to them. So this kid comes up to you and they're really worked up for whatever reason, looking angry, looking frustrated, and you say, and they're like, I hate this, I'm so angry about this, or I hate my sister, or she's a stupid head, or whatever. And you literally just repeat that back. It looks like you think that XYZ is stupid. It looks like you're really angry with this thing that's happened. Some of the times, particularly when they're much younger, right? So if you've got kids around, one, even although it's much harder to get this communication across at that point, but 2, 3, 4, 5, even 6 and 7, they don't often have the words to put with how they're feeling. That in itself is very, very, very frustrating. So if you can look at what they're doing and how they're sort of using their body language to communicate and help them connect that with words, that helps them make sense of what's going on. And it's a very, very useful little tool. But to do that, you have to sort of remove yourself emotionally from the situation and everything that's going on. And you need to be like, okay, cool. What are they going through? How can I help them with what's going on? What is actually happening here? What are they experiencing? So you need to forget about you and only think about them, which can be difficult, particularly if you're, if they've broken something that you really like, or they've hit another child and, you've got to find that balance between discipline. But when they're at the height of their emotions, so like if they're this big wave crashing in, trying to discipline that, it doesn't work. You need to wait till they're calmer. So they crash, boom, be that safe space, and then have a calmer, more relaxed conversation about what happened and, hey, Em, you potato, get off Instagram. Have a calmer, more relaxed conversation about what's going on, and that way you'll be able to sort of communicate with them. They'll still feel safe, they'll feel understood, they'll trust you more in those situations, but they'll also have answers about how to work through it next time. Very useful one to use. And like taught thousands of kids. I've had some kids punch me in the face because they haven't been able to express what they're going through. It's not the kids' fault. It's just their inability to be able to express that emotion effectively. There can be a lot of factors that feed into that, be it, it could be medications, it could be certain foods, it could be all these sorts of things. It could be lack of sleep, it could be lack of water, big one. Like simple things like that can really affect kids' moods. So judging how they're responding as right or wrong, I don't find to be super effective. Just looking at what's happening and helping them feel safe and comfortable to express that emotion, very, very important. Next bit, safe space, curious, listen, understand, reflect, and mirror. Let them find the answers. Okay, now this is a really, really good one. And super empowering for the kids if you can hold yourself back. A lot of kids, as a natural default, they see parents, teachers, instructors, leaders, whatever, as the people that have all the answers. And I remember this as a kid. I used to think that my dad knew everything. I was like, does not matter what it is. Dad knows what it is. Dad can't be wrong. He knows everything, right? Which is completely untrue. So really, really good idea to establish that with kids. Let them know that you don't know everything and you're still stumbling through life trying to work out how things work, right? That's an important one. Not one that they'll necessarily believe. But here's how you can use that effectively. If they come to you and they've got a struggle or a problem or whatever it is, you sit there, you listen, reflect what they're saying, all those things that I was saying before, and then you ask them the question. What do you think would be a good way to handle this problem? Or what do you think would be a good way, XYZ, depending on the specific problem that they've come to you with? And that can help hugely. Example, right? So I'll use one of my nieces is a little, not the one that's on Instagram at the moment, another one a little bit more sensitive with her emotions and feels things really, really deeply. So when things go wrong, it's like this massive explosion because she's usually super calm. And then sometimes things go wrong and it's just like this bomb's just gone off and you don't know where it's come from. It can be a little bit scary. But after you are that rock, they crash, and they calm down, you can have a conversation with them. Then you ask the question. So if it's a fight with a sister or if it's something that's been said to her, you ask the question with the focus being on what can they do with how they're feeling to take control. Not, very important, how can they change the world to fix how they feel. Because that means they're not actually in control. You're not actually teaching them to be in control and take control of their life. You're teaching them that they need the outside circumstances to change so that they can be happy. And if that is your outlook on life as a child growing into an adult, you're always going to feel like a victim. Victims, not happy people, right? So the goal, in my opinion, is to give kids as many tools as possible so they can be as happy and fulfilled and confident enough to chase the things that they're really passionate about in life. To do that, you need to put the focus on any problem, even if it's not their fault, right? Even if it's not their fault. What can they do to either prevent this from happening next time or to handle it better? So if they've had a fight, let's say a simple one, right? Another kid's called them stupid or said they're dumb and have no friends, something like that. And that can really hurt when you're young because you think, or you're not necessarily aware of the fact that you can completely control your own emotions if you so choose. And don't worry, that's most adults as well. It's not just kids. But if you can, so they crash, boom, they calm down, they're chilled, have the conversation. Okay, cool. Who said this? All right. What? Do you think that's true? Do you think you're stupid? No. Okay, cool. That's really good. And then you need to reinforce that a couple of times because for one negative, you need like 5 positives to balance it out. So if they get called stupid and they disagree with it, then you're like, okay, cool. So what's something that you do that makes you feel really smart? Like, how about when you did boom? And then point out an instance where they've problem solved really well and really effectively. Then be like, did you think that was like a smart thing to do? Because that seemed really smart to me. I thought it was amazing. And then you ask for another one, and then another one, and another one. And then by the end of that, once you've given them 5, they're like, holy shit, I'm smart. And then you go back. So you've reinforced that positive pattern. And then you go back and you say, what was the other thing they said? They said you've got no friends. Do you agree with that? You say, no. It's all right. Who are some of your friends? Like, I've seen you. What about boom, 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 boom? And then rattle off a few names of people that are their friends. Then be like, you like doing things with them. So, what do you enjoy about that situation? How does being around your friends make you feel? So you're taking their focus and you're shifting it to what's actually real in their life. Then, after you've done that, so you've taken the negative patterns, disproven it logically, and then reinforced positive emotion on top of that, then what you can do is be like, now, have you ever gotten angry before, or have you ever got upset before? Yes is the answer, because it always is. Then you follow up with, when you're angry or upset, have you sometimes said things to people that was maybe a little bit mean, or a little bit rude, or a little bit hurtful? And then they say, yes. If you've created that safe space for them to express that. You're like, cool, but that's not how you normally act, right? Yeah, okay, cool. So what do you think's happened when whoever the other person was that said the things has said those things? Like, how do you think they were feeling? Do you think they were really happy at that point? Or do you think maybe they were a bit angry and upset and they've just said something that they didn't actually mean? Same as what you've done before. And then they're like, because now they're calm, right? They've taken control of themselves with pointing out that whatever they were told wasn't true. And then you've gone and helped them think about, so they're in a positive state of mind now. Try and do this when they're not thinking positively. It doesn't work so well. Then you go back and you look at the situation with logic and reason to explain emotion and how it works. Very, very, very powerful for kids. They're not going to get it after the first turn. And if you don't understand this, it's completely fine, because most people are never taught this. But go back and watch this a few times. Look at the patterns that I've sort of laid out here. And if you want more, just drop a comment below, and I'm happy to sort of explain this stuff more, because I really enjoy it. I find it quite fascinating. But then you go back and they're able to look at things logically, look at emotions logically, which is usually a very hard thing to do, and analyze why things that are being said aren't real. And if they can make that connection logically enough times, then when it happens, they're just going to remain calm. Because they're going to understand that everything that's happening at that point in time is not true. It is purely heightened emotion. And if they can do that, they can take enormous control and power of their life. And that's a very, very powerful communication tool to be able to go through with kids and teach them those things. There's some of the things that I go through in teaching the basics of that in my programs. And I encourage you, if you haven't, go and look at my online kids self-defense programs, because if you haven't understood from this, it's not just kick and punch. I teach a lot more than that, and I'm much more passionate about that. The kick and punch is important for other certain skills, but we definitely go through communication skills. We go through goal setting. We go through how to build confidence in their life, how to manage their emotions and understand them. And these are really, really powerful tools, and I've been able to teach them to kids as young as 4, right? So they're done in a way that actually work and make sense. The trick is they do need to be reinforced. This is not a magic bullet. It's not a one-time fix-all. The same as if you want to get a really nice body, pretty happy with mine at the moment, it's getting better. You have to work at it. It's food, it's training, it's consistency, it's repetition. It's doing a lot of stuff that a lot of people would consider boring, so they don't do it, right? But if you do those things consistently, over a consistent basis, then you train yourself to either look, change, develop in a certain manner. But it's consistency, right? That takes time. It's the same thing when you're looking to understand emotions, understand feelings, understanding your response to things. It takes time. It takes repetition, right? And it takes a lot of positive reinforcement. So that's what I was talking about there. If you've got questions, drop them in the comments. But I hope that was of benefit. And please, if you do watch this, use it. Don't just watch it and do nothing with it, because this sort of thing, if people can understand these things and teach them to kids, it's like, kids are going to be amazing, amazing human beings, and it's going to be a much better world. And I think we need a lot more of those sorts of things right now, not more people being emotionally triggered and not in control of their emotions through poor communication lessons, basically, while they're growing up. So I'll leave it there. I will catch you on the next one. Questions, drop them in the comments. See you on the next one.